Hello, I'm Miss Sarah, and I'm coming to you today to share the story, the puppet story, for the Pharaoh's Daughter. The Pharaoh's Daughter is a really wonderful classical ballet that's just not very often performed, and as a result, the music that I have to use is music that's been adapted to piano for a ballet class. Nonetheless, the story is lovely, and I hope you enjoy it. It's also a really wonderful opportunity to talk to your students about ancient Egypt because the location of every ballet is an opportunity to share. So, good times. Here we go. Hope you hear that well. Long ago, there was an adventurer named John Bull from England. He had dreamed so excitedly about going to Egypt. When he got there, the sands were thick and terrible and dangerous, and he had to run and hide in a pyramid. Inside the pyramid, he saw a mummy, but she didn't look like the mummies he'd seen before. He was sure she could see him. And when he rubbed his eyes, she began to walk towards him. She got closer and closer and closer. And all of a sudden, they were in a different place. Her name was Aspisha. She was the daughter of the Pharaoh, and he loved her immediately. She was hunting when a lion came out and jumped at her. And she was so frightened, she fell back and he grabbed her, and they liked each other so much. Her best friend Resmi said, "You really can't be with him. You're gonna marry the Prince of Nubia. Why bother?" And Aspisha says, "Oh, I have an idea." She brings John all the way to meet her father, the Pharaoh. She says, "Pharaoh, meet John Bull. John Bull, meet the Pharaoh." But her father, the Pharaoh, knows she has to marry the Prince of Nubia and says, "Please get dressed for your party," and that makes her very sad. Resmi brings her away and gives her the veil. Aspisha says, "I'm so sad. I don't want to. I want to run away." And Resmi said, "Maybe I can help you." And she takes the veil on herself in disguise. And that gives her a chance to grab John Bull and get on a little boat and ride all the way to the Nile. On the Nile, it's not very long before her father, the Pharaoh, comes after her. And when they see each other, Aspisha says, "Please let me go." And he says, "You can't, Aspisha. You have a duty to your country." And Aspisha says, I'm sorry. And she falls into the Nile. And when she falls into the Nile, she sinks and sinks and sinks until she reaches the very bottom and meets Neptune. Neptune says, "You have to be with us, but before you're with us forever, make one wish." She says, "I want to speak to my father." And all of the fairies of the water come, and they make little bubbles underneath her that help her rise and rise and rise all the way back to the palace. But when she's there, things are terrible. The Prince of Nubia is punishing everyone that helped her run away. He says, "Resmi, you get in chains." Hope you can see that. Chains? See? And he says, "John Bull, to the snakes with you." And when he does, the Pharaoh sees Aspisha and runs to her. He says, "The prince, his punishments are too harsh." And she goes to him to talk to him and says, "I'm so sorry for what happened, but please let my friends go free." He said, "We had a plan. We made a promise and you broke it." And instead of talking it over, he marched off. And when he marched off, John Bull ran to her and said, "Are our problems over? Can we be together?" And everyone jumped underneath them and lifted them up until everything was covered with the golden light of the sky and sun. And when that happened, John woke up. And he looked around himself and he was in the pyramid. He had never left. The whole story was but a dream. And that is the short version of the story of the Pharaoh's Daughter, with music, part of the music by Cesare Pugni. Every week in my ballet class, we study the story of a ballet and the steps that are inside of it. This is the Academy of Ballet and Etiquette, and thank you for watching.